Gorgeous morning. There's the water, Okanagan Lake, downtown Kelowna, beautiful. It's chilly, but it's clear and beautiful. We don't see much sun all winter, so now that the sun is out in spring, we're really enjoying it. Hi, Joiner. Good to see ya. I'm back. So, I just went in. I'll just wait a second here. See if anybody's still around. Ooh, it's chilly out. Eek. It's actually cold. Get my keys from my woman purse. Well, that's disappointing. I guess I'm going to work. All good. Give it 1 second here. Just gorgeous out. Wow. I'm downtown Kelowna here, walking back to my car. I was all fresh and ready to go and on time. So, it's the art gallery. This is our our high-end hotel in town, downtown, right on the waterfront, on the other side of the hotel. This is the hockey arena. That's where I parked. Ooh, it's chilly. It's really chilly. I'm freezing. It looks nice, but the air is cold. All right, so I was here for jury duty, and I showed up on time and by some miracle. And there were 3 civil cases scheduled today for jury selection, and a whole bunch of people showed up for it, potential jurors. So they were doing jury selection this morning. And all 3 cases were resolved out of court. So I drove in from out of town and got my butt downtown in time and found a parking spot and paid for parking, and only to find out that see that spot where I'm pointing right now? That's where we're going to be for the Canada Day, July 1st. There's a statue right there, dolphins. And then just to the right, I'm really zoomed, so I'm going to go slow, but right around this spot, right here-ish. Yeah, right there, that grass. So this is a parkade. And then just to the right of the parkade, that grass there, is where we're going to have our Canada Day wiener sprints. That's the wieners, as in the dachshunds, the dogs. Everybody knows I have 2. Whoop. Did I freeze? Can you still see me? My screen froze. Darn it. I'm not sure if you can still hear me. There we go. I don't know if that blipped out on you. I think I might have frozen. I zoomed in. I was showing you the Canada Day location. Just to the right of the parkade there, on the left is a building. That's the parkade to the casino match. And right on the right-hand side is a grassy area where we're going to have our Canada Day wiener dog races, and I'm organizing that. We're going to have 80 dogs racing this year, and it's months and months of prep. Oh, I didn't lock my door. Months and months of planning for that. It's a really big deal. And here, I'll turn around. And so I've gotten a really great organizing committee together. I wasn't going to do it without a really committed group of people to help me, because the last time I did it, it was a lot of work. I had help, but I needed more because the jobs are extensive and there's a lot of work to do. So anyway, so we got that. We got the volunteers. We have a really great club here in Kelowna, the Dachshund Club. So you'll be seeing that site again July 1st. Maybe before that, because they have a press event before Canada Day, getting ready for, here, just let me grab a sip of coffee. Let me just think, I'm in town now, so do I need anything before I go back home? I live out of town, so since I'm here, I might be able to do the two birds with one stone thing, you know. Just thinking, I don't think I need anything. I was in town yesterday, went to Costco, everything, so, oh, that lady has a little puppy. Like a baby puppy, like a baby. Oh my goodness sakes, are you kidding me? Little curly little, could be a Labradoodle for all I know. It's tiny now, but. Awesome Squad 74, where are you located and how's my day going? Well, I'm located in Kelowna, British Columbia in Canada. Welcome to my channel. I stream quite a bit lately, especially. And I'm just also headed home here. I was on my way to jury duty and it got canceled. So my day is going great. I woke up in a good mood. I'm feeling great. I'm organized. I got to jury duty on time, but they canceled. So the case was solved out of court. So everybody that showed up today was sent home. So I got to call the parking people and ask for my money back because I just paid $20 for parking and that's not fair. So they can reimburse, I'm pretty sure. Usually you can talk your way out of stuff like that if it's reasonable. So anyways, so I'm going to head back home and then I'm going to work when I get home. I work from home. I work in my healthcare system in Canada. I'm just going to pull over because this is so beautiful. I want to show you. This is like one of the most beautiful places in Canada, no word of a lie, this particular spot even. Whoops, I don't want to blank out my screen. So I'm gonna just turn around my camera and show you this beautiful location. So this is what we call, it's a statue of, you can see, of the dolphins. It's a lot bigger than it looks on camera, but there's a fountain and then we have our tulips are all in bloom. And then and then past those trees is the beach and the lake, and it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. The water is crystal clear and clean. It's one of the cleanest lakes in the world, I'm sure, because Canada has very clean lakes. We take care of our water. And the sand is white and the water is clear, and in the summer, because this is a deserty area, the water's warm. So it's very, like it's bathtub warm when it's really hot. So we have a lot of tourists coming here from all over the world. And this year we're expecting many, many Americans, because Americans are trying to get out of their country for a break. You've been there before. Oh, that's cool. Where are you from, Awesome Squad? I'd be curious to know where you're visiting us from. So right over here, that parkade, right beside there on the grass is where we're going to have our wiener races. So between the parkade and the trees, we're going to set up like a race area. You're from Alberta. Where in Alberta? So am I. I'm from Edmonton originally. And a lot of people from Alberta move here because the climate is so much better. And it's just a beautiful, British Columbia really truly is beautiful, mountains and lakes and all that kind of thing. So I just wanted to show you that beautiful site, and that's where our wiener races are going to be. Penticton, that's where you visit Penticton. Penticton is an hour south of where I am right now. An hour and a half type of thing, drive. And the drive is along this lake all the way down to Penticton. It's a very massive, huge lake. So you just follow the lake to Penticton. So if you're from Alberta, you're not from Penticton. But maybe that's the place you visited. So I'm assuming that's the case. Okay, so I'm driving now, so I can't watch you unless I'm at a stoplight. I'm willing to look down, but I'm very careful when I drive. I stream when I drive, but I don't look at my screen. So anyways, so for those who are just joining, my jury duty was canceled when I got in there. They canceled it all. So with any luck, I'll get my money, my $20 back for my parking, and the gas will not be reimbursed. So I'm trying to think quick here on my feet if I can run an errand while I'm in town that I need to do, because, you know, like be efficient and make use of my gas today. Shoot, really sucks. I don't have anything to do in Kelowna because I've been in Kelowna the last few days in a row doing my errands. That sucks. Anyways, so I'm headed home now because I work full-time from home. And so I'll just get home and go to work, basically. So they know that if I was selected for jury duty, I would have been off for 2 weeks. So because jury duty's canceled, I'm off and free, back to work, normal. In a way, that's good news, because I'm also knee-deep, neck-deep, underwater for the federal election in Canada, and I'm on the board of the party that I'm voting for, the campaign, and we're knee-deep in campaigning right now. The election's in 6 days. We just finished early voting, the advanced polling, and got through that with record numbers in Canada. It's exciting. People are excited about democracy in their country. I think it's a combination between people that are passionate about their country and keeping it safe and sovereign, and people that are sick and tired of the government, the outgoing government that's been in office for the last 10 years. So they're either sick of that government and want change, or they are excited about sticking up for Canada that is currently under threat. So the talk is we're figuring out why we're such a desired country to invade right now. There's a lot of talk about why and what's actually happening. So I think we have it pinned down this is all opinion, okay? This is not anything, I don't work in that level of government. I work in healthcare, so I don't have knowledge of anything in particular. I'm just speculating that the reason that the US, Trump in particular, wants to invade Canada, I'm going to say invade. He calls it annexation. I'm calling it invasion, because we don't want to be absorbed into the US. So if he was to do it, it would be by force. So that's an invasion, not an annexation. Annexation would be like, yeah, sure, we'll join you. We'll join your country, no problem. No, there's not a single Canadian that I know, even the ones that have like drastic, extremely different views than I do politically, are not for that. There's a handful of Canadian megas, but that's really rare. And they make a lot of noise, so people think that there's more of them than there actually are. So we're actually not that worried about them. I was, but my party has talked me off the ledge because they're smart people and they know the deal. They have the stats. So we're good. That doesn't mean to say that, like, if Trump has control of his military, which he does because he's the president, that he can't take us by force. And we happen to have another country on the other side of us that would love to have us by force as well. And if they're working together, which I personally believe they are, not in a government kind of way, but in a oligarchy kind of way, like rich man billionaire kind of way. So these people are billionaires, and they're all banding together, and they see what's happening is that the ice is melting in the north part of Canada, so that the seaways, the Arctic Ocean north of Canada, between Canada and Russia, because if you go over the North Pole, there's Russia. So the seaways are melting because of global warming. So if that seaway melts, it opens shipping lanes. And in those areas, the land in those areas are rich with mines of every kind of natural resource you can imagine. So everything the world desperately needs in terms of resources and mining potential that hasn't been tapped yet because it wasn't accessible because of the ice cap, like the ice situation. I don't know the terminology, but anyways. Once those ice masses melt, then their ships can get in and they can do some mining. So that is a multi-trillion, zillion opportunity for people who think about money and money first. So they'll take over Canada for that reason, because people have taken over countries for less. But money is a driving factor for most human behavior these days, most shady human behavior these days. So anyway, so we are protecting our sovereignty to remain a nation. If they own us, they can take it for free. If they don't, then they have to pay for it. So Canada is actually positioned right now to be one of the wealthiest country in the world, and a very important superpower if we do not get invaded. But we don't have a strong military because Canada is not an aggressor. We don't use our military for aggression. We never go into countries for any reasons other than peacekeeping or defense. So we don't attack or invade or take over, or like we don't go into countries to take them over because we want their oil or their, like some other people we know, if they're being honest about why they're there. So it's kind of a time right now because we are told we need to build our military, but there is no possible way that we could ever have a military big enough to fight off the Russians and the US, especially at the same time, both, if they're working together, which I believe they are. It's not the country itself, it's the people, the oligarchs, the billionaires that are working together, and they've gotten control of the government. Putin is one of them, Trump is the other. So they're not government people. They don't care about government. They don't care about making their countries better. They care about the money they can make with those positions held. So I know what I'm saying is very provocative, but that's okay. I believe that to be true, and that's what everyone seems to be talking about. We're coming to some conclusions, and very, very smart people are coming to these conclusions. And I've explored it deeply in all angles. I don't think Americans have any idea this is happening and that that's the intent. They're shocked that Canada has been, like every American I've ever seen speak of this, besides the extreme mega crazy people, are horrified at how Canada is being treated right now, being threatened with becoming the 51st state and tariffs and all that crap. So, the tariffs are fine. We're going to be okay because we can make our own food. We can grow our own. We can make our own everything. We're a very wealthy nation. We can take care. We don't need the U.S. We just have to get out of it. And then that's going to be rocky. But no one's going to die in Canada from starvation. And we have good friends all over the world. We're very close with Mexico. Mexico has also been targeted. So Mexicans also, we're in it together. So we can get our oranges from Mexico, for example. We don't need Florida. It just takes time to shift all those trading agreements to other countries. So we can, basically the trade agreements we have with the U.S. have all been canceled because the contracts have been breached by Trump. So he's imposed tariffs on systems that we had contracts for, and negotiations were made. So he's breaking those contracts, so we'll just go elsewhere. We've been in talks with Japan, we've been in talks with China, we've been in talks with Europe, we've been in talks with all other countries in the world. And all these countries that we've been in talks with are planning what they're going to do to cut the U.S. out of our economies. And they're not a player anymore. So the sad part, that what breaks my heart is I love Americans. I have a lot of American friends. And I know that they're victims of this because they don't know yet. Even people that vote for Trump don't know what he's doing and what the consequences will be to them, but they will realize it. And when they do, we just need an apology. We like apologies up here. We need some sincere apologies for the way that they've brought Trump into our existence at all, because we didn't fucking want him from day one. He was forced upon us by your vote if you're American. So not yours in particular. Chances are good you didn't vote for him, but if you did, you didn't know what you were doing. Because he's good. He's a con man and he's a grifter, so it's all about money for him. He doesn't care about people. He pretends he cares about people. He's a good actor. He's a celebrity. So anyways, yeah, so we're suffering the consequences, and people wonder why we don't mind our own business. This is why. Because what you do affects us. So in a big way. So anyways, this is actually good news because it's going to be painful for a bit. Like, our economy is going to be out of control. But we have an excellent leader right now. Excellent. He's an economist, economical master. He's a PhD in economy, and he's worked in high level economic positions around the world, and he knows his stuff, and he really cares about Canada. He was a good old hockey kid growing up in Edmonton, going to a French immersion school, which is why he's able to be prime minister. He knows how to speak French because his parents were smart enough to send him to a French immersion school. So you have to speak both languages, both official languages in Canada, to be the prime minister. So his parents are very intelligent people, so they'd sent him to a French immersion schooling, which is public school, but there's that opportunity in Canada. So he speaks French, so he's able to be, even though he's from Western Canada, where there is very little French spoken, he speaks fluent French, so he can become the Prime Minister of Canada. So here's this guy from Edmonton, Alberta, our oil province, is now the Prime Minister. I think Albertans should be thrilled by that because he really cares about the West. He really cares about the West. This guy played hockey. You know, he's a Canadian boy through and through, but he's also like a genius. Like, he's intelligent. So he was the nerd in school that loved politics. I think his father's a politician also. So he was raised really well to understand all this stuff. I'm a big fan so far. I don't know him that well, but every day I'm learning more. His biggest platform, one of the things that got me my eyebrows raised, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting, was the fact that his last job before becoming prime minister, recently, which is very recent, within the last month or two, he was voted in as the leader of the Liberal Party. Trudeau stepped down, thus he is now automatically the prime minister without an election. So that's how that happened. So he immediately called an election in order to legitimately win it for his own credibility. So that's what we're going through now, is an election. So what I like about him that blows my mind, and I think is the answer for Canada, I've been waiting for this my whole life because we need this. We need unity with all our parties. He's an economy guy. He's a money guy. And I don't like that. I'm sick of people putting money before people, basically. That's my politics. Money's important. Economy is important. We have to manage it. We have to be smart with our money. We don't waste all those things, of course, obviously. But I also don't miss the social side of it, where we have healthcare and universal healthcare, high quality education, all those things. So anyways, so here's this guy, this economist, and I'm like, okay, economist, like, I feel like to take on Trump right now, we need someone like that because he understands how to play Trump, and he just checkmated Trump on something, which I'll get to later. But so I had to hold my nose a little bit while I get to know him. So I've been getting to know him, watching his speeches, watching his speech patterns, how he speaks. Is he sincere? I turn to my intuition. It's working for me, I'm telling you. My gut is screaming yes with him. And luckily, he's the leader of my party also that I vote. Typically, sometimes I vote for other parties depending on what's happening at the time in my country. But right now, it's definitely center is what's needed to take on Trump. That's the most important thing facing right now is sovereignty in Canada. So what I discovered recently about him is that his economic background, his last job before becoming prime minister by proxy, was he runs a company, I forgot, Brookfield, I think is the name of it. It's a finance company, and finance businesses, basically, I believe. I have to look into that a little bit more. I'm just not interested, so I haven't done a lot of research on that. But what that company, what somebody told me, check also. And you're welcome to fact check me as well if I'm incorrect in the comments. I am happy to be corrected. Please do, because admitting openly I have not fact checked this myself. So I'm just going to reiterate, if this is true, I'm a fan. Okay, so he runs this or is part of a finance company, but they only finance businesses and startups that have a very strong environmental plan worked into their business plan. And I think I got confirmation last night our candidate was speaking to a group. I asked about it, and it seemed to be confirmed that that is the case. So his company only gives money to businesses that have an environmental plan built into their business plan for financial success. So fine, we'll give you money. You can earn money, make money, who cares? But you have to have an environmentally sound portion to your plan in order to get the financing from the company. So to me, that's like you're satisfying the right wing, you're satisfying the left wing. Like, who wouldn't be happy with that? Nobody wants to shut down business. No one on the left wants to do that. No one progressive would ever think that you can't open a business and have private industry, private businesses running and be successful, please, because you hire people. You contribute to the economy in a great way. So it's a huge part of our economy. It's, massive. So anyways, yeah, so that's, to me, how we solve this divide between the left and the right. Like, the US needs to pay attention, because the division, the fracture between the two sides politically is really destroying our countries. So this is a way to bridge it all. If we can bring win-win situations like that into government and make everybody happy, I can't think of anything more brilliant. So we can do it all. We really can. And the other thing I've noticed is that as I campaign through this election, I go door to door. I put up signs, and I go around town every day for an hour and put up signs that were pulled out of the ground and thrown down, because people it's against the law to tamper with or remove election signs during election season, because we have the legal right to be there to put our signs up. And they work, by the way. It's a factor for some people, so we need the signs up. It works, and the more you have, the better. And the stats prove it time and time again. So the numbers talk. I'm a numbers person. I work in health data. Numbers talk. And it's not just the numbers. There's more to it. Sometimes stats can be skewed, obviously, or misrepresent okay, this guy's doing 57 kilometers an hour. The limit is 80. That's okay. I'm not in a rush. It's all good. But it's funny, this stretch. There's no passing lanes here, so if you get behind someone like that, you're stuck. All the way home, I gotta follow this guy at this reduced speed. Luckily, I'm calm and talking to you. So anyways, it's really fascinating. And then so the leader that I'm talking about is Mark Carney. He's the Prime Minister of Canada. And he's also the leader of the party that I support, the Liberal Party of Canada. The Liberals are quite fairly center these days. They're left-leaning. But they're not far left. I have some far left beliefs, but I'm not sure a far left party could run the country in the way that I would like, because I also have some center beliefs as well when it comes to business and managing money. And so I'm very gray area in the middle kind of person. So the middle works for me, middle left, because I believe in public healthcare system. And my beliefs in the US would be like Bernie Sanders, because he's way off in the left of the spectrum. But in Canada, he would be center. Just so Americans know that, that's how different you are from us. Like, most Canadians in the US would vote left in a heartbeat, would never vote conservative or Republican in a million years. Even our conservatives wouldn't. Most conservatives here are moderate, which means they're closer to center than they are like the far extreme end of the spectrum. So, so I think a left-leaning party is going to make sure that there's enough funding in healthcare. Our top values in Canada, based on how people have voted for decades now, is that we value our universal healthcare system almost number one. That's at the top of the list of things that Canadians value. And we're proud of it. We know it's not perfect. It is actually, by statistically speaking, and the outcomes of health outcomes of how people do health-wise in Canada. We live longer than Americans, and our mortality, or our infant mortality rate, is far lower than the US. So when US says they have a better, more higher quality healthcare system, that's actually false based on the medical outcomes. And I'm a health data person for a living, so I can produce proof of that. So do you have rich people that don't have to wait in line? Like, you don't have waiting lists for wealthy people that have private health care? Correct, yes. Your waiting lists, your waiting times are less, but only wealthy people or well-off people or well enough off people can afford to be part of that system. If you're in the state healthcare system in the US, you'll have to wait, just like you would in Canada, but it's worse because you don't have the entire population paying taxes into that system. They're paying privately. So anyways, it's just, there's arguments for everything, and most people don't want to hear it all, but I wouldn't give up my system for anything. And every single Canadian I know, whether you're conservative or liberal or otherwise, agrees with that. Our education system is of high quality. So you can be a poor kid in Canada and get a high quality education, and there are ways for you to go to university. You might have a student loan for a bunch of years when you leave, but everybody can go to university. It's not for the rich, it's not for the middle class upper, it's for everybody. So poor kids go to university in Canada. We just do. So that's why we have a more educated population overall. Our average level of education is higher. So therefore, you know, when people vote, they make educated decisions on who they vote for because they understand they got a good high school education because of our high standards, and they understand how our democratic system works, for example, which I've been loving ever since I was 16 years old. I love social studies classes where I learned about democracy and all the parties and what they stand for, and we learned all that, and history of it and where it all derived. So, let's see, what else can I talk about with that? So yeah, so I just participated in a democratic process where I was called as a juror, and by law I have to attend, and there are ways of getting out of it that are pretty loose. So if you really don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Like, you can find a way out. But most people want to do their civic duty and participate as a juror. So I went down there to downtown, got turned away. They took our paper, end of story. So I'm a little choked they didn't pay for my parking, but anyways, they should hand out like parking chits or whatever. You know, they should organize that. If I was in charge, I would, because that's, you know, it probably cost me $30 today to go down there for nothing. Gas, because I live out of town, and the parking, $20 parking that I just paid. So anyways, yeah, so that's not right. That's, you know, then they wasted my time. My employer is paying me right now. I'm getting my regular salary. My union has a portion in the union contract that if I'm called for jury duty, I keep my pay. They have to pay me as if I was at work, my salary. So anyways, so I'm not losing that way. So a lot of people do when they go for jury duty. That's one of the reasons you can get out of jury duty, is say that if I don't make money today, I can't pay my bills. If I don't go to work, I don't get paid. And they only pay like a small amount for jury duty. So excuse me. So anyways, yeah, so I'm happy to do it because other people have that challenge. So I'm a good person to step up for it so that other people don't have to. And I'm really a fan of the justice system and making sure that court proceedings of any kind are fair and impartial. So as a juror, I can go into it, I can confidently go into it without any bias. So I certainly have my political leanings and opinions as a human being, but I believe that the justice system only works if I go into a courtroom with an open mind, where I will listen to every side and seriously consider all sides of everything, and then make a decision from there as a juror. So that it would have been a no-brainer for me to be part of a jury, and I'm sure I would have been selected, but they canceled it because they settled out of court. There were 3 this morning. So that's, I'm going to say probably 100 people at least for 3 different cases. Because it was jury selection. They're going to be eliminated. So there were a lot of people that showed up this morning for nothing. So I'm not disputing that. Like, that happens. Obviously, people last minute, they're like, oh, I'm going to lose this case. Like, they called the bluff and they, But anyways, so they're canceled. So here I am going back home. I'll be back at my desk in 10 minutes working for the man, the government. I consider myself a government worker because I'm paid by the government in healthcare in Canada. So I'm a government worker that people say they hate. So anyways, when you say you hate the government, be careful, because if they're complaining about red tape, I can tell you why we have red tape: because people cheat and screw up. If humans weren't so dumb, we wouldn't need red tape. So, and I'm equally frustrated by red tape, but I put the blame where it squarely belongs, and that's people that try to cheat the system. Here's an example for you. This is a good one. In healthcare, it's been known to happen where an American is visiting Canada. For example, this is just a generic example, and it could be any country, a European, an Australian, whatever, South African, whatever in the world. They come to Canada and they're with their buddy in the truck, and they're, whooping it up, partying. There's 2 of them, one Canadian and one American, we'll say. And they're whooping it up, having a good time. And then they have the American is driving, maybe drunk, whatever, have a big accident. And there's an injury. So the American is hurt. But they don't have health coverage in Canada because we don't cover people from other country. You need your own insurance, like your travel insurance or whatever. Oh, there's a nice puppy dog. Beautiful, beautiful German Shepherd, an old guy too. So anyways, so they get in a car accident. So what they do is this has happened. So I'm just telling a story, generically speaking, about what has happened and can happen. Probably many times in history has happened, where the American will jump into the passenger seat, but they're injured. So they take the ID of the Canadian and pretend that they're the other person so they can get health coverage. When the ambulance arrives, they pretend they're the Canadian so that they can get treatment. Because, when you're injured in a car accident and you're headed to the hospital by ambulance, you're looking at some serious bill, right? Like, that's expensive. Thousands of dollars. It's expensive. Like, it's not cheap. Just because we're universal healthcare doesn't mean our everything costs a lot. So anyways, so they switch places and pretend. So they get to the hospital and it's the Canadian guy getting treated and on paper. And then it's found, it's almost always discovered that that's what they've done. And it takes us years to undo that paperwork and get the identities all sorted out. And there's people working on it we lose a lot of money just in resource time of staff trying to fix the chart of the people that are involved in these sorts of frauds. It's fraud, it's against the law, it's very serious. But this is why we have checks and balances in our system. That's what red tape is, checks and balances. So when people say red tape about government, it means checks and balances. So you can't have anarchy. I considered being an anarchist when I was a teenager because I'm a bit of a rebel. I do like to challenge systems. But I realize the importance of government and why we have it. And now that I work for it, I understand why we have red tape that people call red tape. Our opposition candidate, the Conservative in my writings, talks about government red tape all the time, and he wants to eliminate it. If you eliminate the red tape, you're going to have cheating going on left, right, and center. And that's where corruption comes in. So anyways, so I guess I'm a fan of red tape because we have to prevent people from cheating the system, and they're going to try to make a buck while they're doing it as well. So it's often money driven. Other times it's just like these people trying to get treatment for free. That's money too, I guess, but so this is the kind of thing that you have to be aware of when you're talking about government and politics. And open your mind a little, listen to people, ask what's with all the red tape in government. If it bugs you, ask somebody that is sophisticated enough to answer you. Like, don't just ask your dad and what your dad says is the truth. Dads aren't always right. And I just watched a young lady, I think it was her first time voting, I overheard them, and they were going to vote, and the dad was like, they were talking about the Conservative leader, and And she's like, oh, she's pretty. I'm happy to vote for her. And the dad told her who to vote for. That was really so disturbing, so upsetting. I hope that when she gets older, she starts to think for herself and look into the different people and why. Like a young woman that doesn't know anything might want to vote for a woman because they trust women. Perhaps. I'm just speculating, but for example. But, it's just sad because that woman is not in it for the people. She just cares about people making money. She doesn't care about people when it comes to government. She probably has a family she cares about and friends and a community, maybe her church, whatever, but she doesn't care about the community as a whole. Absolutely everybody. Whereas, the party that I follow is about everybody, whether they're in their party or not. Like, we would stick up for anybody no matter what they believe in, because that's a human right. It's more of a human rights issue. So anyways, that's my story for today. The reason I'm talking about this is because I'm knee deep in it right now in my life. I'm participating very strongly in my election right now. I'm on the board of the party that I'm supporting, door to door, signs, working at the election, the voting places to make sure they're fair and they're following the rules. And I've been doing that for 4 days. I'm exhausted, morning and night. Lots of work, lots of emotion. It's such a close election. I'm approaching everything I do as if she lost by 1 vote, because that's how close it is. It's basically a tie. So, and I know her personally. She's amazing. She's by 20-fold the best candidate is on paper in terms of qualifications and the kind of person she is. She has a heart, but she's super intelligent. Like, she's one of those nerdy. She has a PhD. She's a doctor in biological science, biology, basically. She was a water expert. She spoke in Ottawa, in the capital city of Canada, about the water situation in British Columbia as an executive director of the Okanagan Water Basin Board. So she's spectacular. So she's about clean water and protecting the water and sharing the water and getting clean water out to everybody equally and all these things. Like, she's been doing it for 20 years. So she's just retired and was talked into running for this election. And she was retiring, so she wasn't planning to continue working. But if she wins this election, like, she's got a job ahead of her. She'll live part-time here in our riding and part-time in Ottawa, which is, a 4 to 6 hour flight away. So that doesn't sound like retirement to me. It's a lot of work, but she's passionate about Canada. The reason that her name is Anna Warwick Sears, and she's in the Okanagan in my riding of Vernon, Lake Country, Monashee, and she's easily the best. Her opposition, the Conservative opposition, in my opinion, he's a grifter. He's got the Trumpy vibe. He's not liked in his town. He's a city councillor right now where he's at, and he's not liked at all. He's crossed a lot of people, and I don't like bashing. I'd rather promote my candidate than bash the one that. But I have to say it because he's so bad compared to her that people have to know that. It's shocking. But unfortunately, people are also voting for NDP and Green, which are also on the spectrum, taking votes away from the Liberal Party. So she may lose because of that. People love her. They're voting for her. People that are Conservative and NDP are changing their vote to Liberal for her this time in record numbers. It's a phenomenon. It's unbelievable that even Conservatives are voting for her over him because of, number one, the person he is or isn't, and the fact that she's about sovereignty of Canada, and everybody seems to know that our sovereignty as a nation is at risk. And our right-wing party, the leader of our right wing federally, Pierre Poilievre, he's a Trumper. He's MAGA. So his beliefs are MAGA. People say we're making that up. No, we're not. I have evidence. I can produce it. If you ask me, I'll produce it. He meets with Trump and Musk. His campaign manager wears a MAGA hat, a red American MAGA hat. And I have evidence of that too, because she's wearing it and there's photos and she's out and about in the community with it on. So that's too scary. Sorry, but that's scary. We have to take it seriously. We are at risk, and sovereignty means if we lose our sovereignty, we become a 51st state. In case people don't know what that word means, sovereignty means an independent nation, as it is now. Canada is its own country, and there are attempts being made to absorb it and invade it. And they say annex it into the US. The word is invasion, okay? So anyways, I'm very passionate. I'm going to keep talking about it probably for the next couple weeks. I hope you can learn something from me that you've never heard before, because I speak about things in a very layperson's manner, but I have enough education on it and research of my own since I was 16 years old, 40 years ago, 41 years ago, almost 42 years ago, to speak to this. Oh, there's my hammy little thank you. Hi, Never In Aaron. I love that so much. You have no idea. Makes me smile. Who knew? This has been an exhausting ride. Yeah, so Scooty, it has been an exhausting, I'm exhausted because I've been, can you tell, look at me, my bags under my eyes. I've been at the polls for the the early voting for 4 days in a row. My Easter weekend, I had 4 days off work, and I was up at like 7 every morning and up until 2, 3 in the morning every night, just keeping up on all that, like, because I'm working for the party, so we're doing stuff. It's busy. And at the polls, making sure that the voting is fair and being done properly. And it wasn't, so I was working hard to fix it all. As an observer, I'm not paid by Elections Canada, I'm a volunteer. So I was showing up there to critique their work, and they were doing things wrong because they didn't have enough time to train people properly. There was nothing malevolent being done. Everybody had good intentions, just so you know. The intent of the election staff was excellent. Their heart is in it. They want to do the right thing. They care deeply about doing the right thing. They just didn't have the right training. So I have room for human error, and as long as your heart is in it for the right reasons. So that's super important to me. So I cut people breaks. If they're doing their best but screwing up, that's okay, because I can help them fix it. But I got resistance from the manager and the supervisor. I think their pride was hurt that some volunteer walked in and criticized what was going on there, that they were missing. They missed a lot of things, and it was of concern to me, so I pointed it out. I think their little egos were hurt. Day 1 and 2 were all men. Day 3 and 4 were women. The women took it openly, and we were all friends and working together as a team. But these two guys were not having it. They were not being told, and they were doing it wrong. And in the end, I actually refused to leave at the point they wanted me to leave the building. And I said that I'm willing to be arrested for it. So the only way they're going to get me out of there was if they call the police. And they didn't, and they let me do what is in the law, the Elections Act, for me to do. So I did it. The end of story. But I had to go to that extent after that was the 4th day, to be allowed to do that one thing under law. I had to threaten that I needed to be arrested in order to get me out of the building. That's what it came to. And it shouldn't, because I was right. So when I went and did the task, there was a place on the paperwork for me to sign, like candidate's representative. That's what I am, a scrutineer. So that was sort of, I think they were, and I did not rub anything in. They knew. I gave them a chance to save face by just not speaking of it. I just carried on. And I hope that doesn't come across as arrogant or anything, but I studied the Elections Act. After the first night of that happening, I was alarmed. So I went home at 11 p.m., pulled up the Canada Elections Act and studied it until about 3 in the morning and learned it. I'm a nerd. So I don't know too many people that would actually do that. So I took it upon myself as a responsibility to my country and the democratic process to do it and learn it on the fly. So I could go back the next day and tell them the way it's going to be. But I didn't want to rock the boat. So I kind of went along with it for the next night or two. I was helpful while I was there in other ways. But the particular thing I'm talking about, come day 4, I kind of had it. So I stood my ground with I said, if I don't leave, how will you remove me? He didn't answer really. He said, I hope I'm expecting it won't come to that. I'm not just going to do what you're telling me to do, dude, because you're wrong. And I have a legal right to be here. So anyways, I said, well, you'll have to call the police then. I said it. He didn't say it. He didn't threaten to call the police. I did. Not that I would call. They would have to call to remove me. And he didn't. And they allowed me to do what I was allowed to do. And there was a place on the paperwork for me to sign. So obviously it's legal for me to do it. So I'm not going to talk about the details of what that was, because I'm not here to alarm the public in any way that there's anything going on in elections. The whole process was excellent. And the reason that I say that is because even if I hadn't been there to challenge what was happening, their checks and balances that happen would have caught it anyways. Because it just might have taken somebody 2 weeks after election night to find the issues. So by speaking up, we can have a result election night. So this is what happened in the US, where there was so much distrust in the electoral process, and that doubt was intentionally placed out in the public so that all the challenges came up, and it did drag out the whole there's actually, is it a senator or a congressperson, a woman in the US that is still not in her job as a congresswoman, the post she won, because there's disputes in court and she's not allowed to go in. And it's already how many months? How long has Trump been in office? A couple months, few months? January, right? So that's 4 months, and she's still not in place because of the distrust in the electoral process. So I definitely am not planting that at all. What I'm saying is that the system has red tape in order to catch the problems, and they would have caught what I saw immediately anyways, right? Like eventually. So that's the good news. I can tell Canadians that we're good. Our electoral process is good. It's stellar. And I saw it with my own eyes, and I studied what was supposed to happen and witnessed it. So yeah, so we're good. I'm exhausted. It is an exhausting time for Canadians. No matter where you go, that's all we talk about. It's politics. People don't like politics, but now might be a time to learn. If you can find someone to talk to that can explain it in a really fair way. If somebody came to me and said, I don't know anything about politics, I would go through all the parties and tell you what each of them represent in a fair way. I would want them to make their own decision. What are their values? What do they value more than anything? They would give me their answer, and then I would say, okay, in my view, you fit in this party for that reason, based on what you told me, and here's why. And then I'd go through all the parties and explain what their values are, what they put first in how they want their society to run in their perfect world, and then they decide from there. And I would give them sources and places to go to look. And don't believe all there's so much propaganda and misinformation right now. It's it's out of control. The methodology that Trump used to win and get where he's at has been systemic for the last 20-30 years. It's been underway for quite some time now, and he was the perfect person to come in right at the right time for this thing that was being set up all along. It's very intentional, and that is seeping into Canada. So we have to be aware. I'm trying to make people aware that the people that want to run things are the billionaires. I can guarantee it. The people with the money want to be in charge. So it's not necessarily, it is fascist, but it's fascism by rich people. So it's called the robber barons, is what they call them. So they're the filthy rich people that want to control the government so that they can make sure that they don't have to pay taxes, or they want to be in control of their money. They don't want to contribute. They don't want public healthcare system. They don't want high quality education for all, because educated people will challenge them and not let them be in charge. So it's kind of a new phenomenon. It's what Russia's been doing for quite some time. Putin is an oligarch. Putin is a robber baron. Putin is he's an oligarch. So he's basically, the government is run by billionaires. So he wasn't always a billionaire. He became a billionaire by using the system a certain way and took over. Their elections are not free and fair. Russia's what Russia is. we've known what Russia is for a long time, but Putin is either blackmailing or bribing Trump. I think probably both. They have something on him. They have things on him. He's very tied to Russia. He's had Russian wives. He's had Eastern European wives. So he's very tied to that country. So we'll find out one day what the story is. It's just very clear that there's a tie there, but they're also like, we won't blackmail you. We won't tell on you. But here's some money and work with us instead. So this is all clearly going on. People won't, I can't try to convince people of it because I have no evidence of it. No one does. If we did, you'd know about it and it would be over. But it's obvious. He's all about money. He's a transactional person. He's also a sociopath, and that's clearly evident, and evidence upon evidence upon evidence. There's no doubt about that. So he doesn't care about people. So my community, my country is based on people. We care about each other. Nobody starves in Canada. If they are starving, someone's screwing up and they need to be caught and corrected immediately. So I'm not saying we're perfect, but if something like that's going on, like, we have systems in place to find that and correct it. So anyways, and that's something I'm proud of and I'll fight for. And I'm in fight mode right now. I am exhausted. Okay, overload. Okay, bye, Scooter Mom. She's in overload. So I'm throwing it out there because I'm in the mode right now. I am fully in this right now. It's my whole life. Besides I saw my grandson over the weekend and my son, and we hung out and had a lovely time. And I have a job that I love, and I have plans for my life. But I can't go to the U.S. this year, but because I'd be arrested at the border if they saw my social media, because I'm anti-MAGA. So I just can't go. I'll get arrested, I'm sure. Based on what we're told, rumors that Canadians are being arrested for defying Trump. So that's hilarious to me, little old me that's never broken the law in my life. But I believe in free speech, and I have a banner that says no Maple MAGA. And I don't want that in my country. So I would be arrested. So I can't go to the US this year. So I'm thinking about doing a Canada-wide trip. Financially, that's the only thing that makes sense. I could go to Europe. Maybe it might happen still, but at this point, I think in September I'll take a month. I'll have a month off work in vacation days, so I'll cross Canada. So that'll be neat because I can. I'll head east first from where I'm at, and I want to make it to Newfoundland. I've never been to Newfoundland, so I want to go there in my van with my dogs and drive it. So I'm gonna boot her all the way to Newfoundland first, like as fast as I can get there, and try to spend a couple weeks there. Because to truly see it, I'd have to spend a week or two for sure. I've been to Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Quebec, all the rest of the provinces I've been, and I have not been to Newfoundland. So if I can go there and spend most of my time there and the rest of the time just traveling. I have friends and people to see along the way, so that's part of it too, especially Ottawa and Toronto and Winnipeg. Some people that have been watching today are in those cities. So I'll be stopping to visit and say hi and meet them in person. And very, very close dear friends in Ottawa. I lived in Ottawa for 10 years way back, so I'll go. Geez, I'd sure love to sit in on Parliament if it was open, but I don't think it's... Actually, Parliament's going now, so... No, maybe in September they'll be back. I don't know when they come back from their summer break. It might be into October, so I might miss the opportunity, but I really would want to go to question period, which is basically attending our... when your Congress meets, there's a public viewing area up top that you can go and show up and watch them debating and all that kind of stuff. So I would definitely attend that and make it more of a political trip than... I lived in Ottawa, and I did go to question period a few times when I lived there, but in a vacation setting, I would do more of that. And I'd probably tour on this live stream around Ottawa. Where does the leader of the opposition live? They have a house that they are given in that role in government. The Prime Minister has a home that he's given, just like the White House. We have one too. It's 24 Sussex Drive. The leader of the opposition lives in, it's called Stonehenge? Yeah, I don't remember the number, but that's the name of the home. So I would drive past there and show you guys, and then all the usual sites, Parliament buildings, all that kind of thing. I used to take my friends that would visit Ottawa on that tour. So, but it's been many years since I've been. See friends, and then just across Canada, I would try to go places I haven't been before. So there's a lot of, Canada has this thing, it's really interesting where, like for example, Vegreville, Alberta, it's a really Ukrainian town, lots of Ukrainian ancestry. So they have this massive, massive Easter egg. You know the Ukrainian Easter eggs where they decorate them with this art? So it's like this statue of this Easter egg, and it's huge. It's like the size of a small house. And it's their towns, people go, it's a tourist attraction, but all the towns have little things like that, like neat things along the way. So I would try to maybe map those out and stop, and it just gets you into the rural and get to know Canadians. I probably interview people and have conversations with Canadians as part of the live stream. So make a channel out of it, make a go of it. I've been doing activism Scientology stuff the last year, but I can't do much of that right now because I can't go to the US. I can do some Scientology stuff in Canada. We do have some work, so I would work that in as well, but I don't want trouble. I sort of want to have a nice year in my country, so we'll see how much of that I do. The passion's still there, I just have shifted gears. The other option is to go to Europe, but if I go to Europe, it's probably when I retire, because I would put the van on a ship and go over for years, a few years with the dogs. So that's going to take much more planning, and I have responsibilities here. I own a home and everything else. So anyways, I'm going to go to work. I'm back home, and I'm not doing jury duty after all. So I'm going to head in and go to my desk and go to work and let them know. The good news is I'm back. I don't have to be away for 2 weeks. So thanks for listening. I hope that if anybody has any questions about, if you're really not sure how to vote and you think maybe you should this time and you want some information, I would be more than happy to have a Zoom call with you or whatever, or an email conversation or whatever it takes, a phone call, to get you up to speed on, what, and I would help you in a fair way. I wouldn't try to sway you. I want you to make a decision how you're going to vote based on your own values. I want you to vote is the point. I believe in democracy. In a way, I don't care who people vote for. I kind of do, but I don't care. More important is democracy and that you do vote. So what I know is that if every Canadian voted, every election, if it was mandatory, if it was by law, you have to vote, it would be left-leaning every time, because Canadians are left-leaning by value. So the reason that conservatives win elections is because liberals stay home and don't vote. It's a problem we have that needs to stop. So I'm on a mission to get people out voting, and I also know that people vote without the right information, and that's alarming. So I believe I have the right information. I also can be fair to the other parties and share what's good about them. So I would want to do that so that people can make a very informed decision, and hopefully give them some advice on how to find out. Each party has a website, so you can go and find out their platform. That was fast. Oh, Chris is back. Hi, Krista. Hi, lady. Yeah, they settled out of court at the last minute. So I'm home. So yeah, it was I guess good news, but I was looking forward to being a juror for the experience of it, because I'm a nerd. So anyways, here I am at home, heading back to work. So my boss will be very happy, because we are very busy and I'm needed. So I was going to phone in, like every break we had phone in, any questions, like how's it going? Is everything okay? Because it's the beginning of the fiscal year. So we have systems that are being installed right now. And I left it in the hands of someone else that I'm training. So I would have been checking in. He's excellent. So I totally trust him. He could do it without me, but it's just, it's I'm attached. I care. I'm like the mama bear here. So and he's my friend. I do totally trust him. He's very good. But I felt bad leaving at this time, but really legally I have no choice if you're called as a juror, and I have no reason to get out of it. So yeah, so I'm out of it now. I'm home and I'm going to go back to work. But tonight, this will be good because we have to go door to door. The door knocking in an election campaign is one of the most effective ways of getting people out to vote. I'm not out door to door to convince anybody of anything. It's to make sure that the people that are on board with my party actually show up to vote and stress to them why it's crucial right now. So it's not, there's no arguments. We all agree on who to vote for. It's just, please make sure you show up and bring your family out and your friends that are on board. So that's more the focus, because if everybody shows up, we're going to win. We'll be fine. So, yeah, so it's good. Thanks, you guys, for coming in. I think I exhausted Scooter Mom. I'm sorry, Scoots. I definitely am in this mode. So I will continue for the election is in 6 days. And once it's over, then I'll shift into whatever I decide to do next. Might take me a bit of time to get out of the political mode because I'm I'm hyper focused right now. That's my ADHD gift. And I'm a good person to have in a campaign like this, because we had an event last night. The candidate Anna came out and to meet the public. So I provided the snacks. I showed up with snacks and set up the chairs for her, for everybody, and just, it's just volunteer work, basically. Every day is different events. There's one tonight, actually. Maybe I will, I might bring in a live, actually. That's a good idea. I'll get permission first and see if I can bring the camera in and do it and record it live so you can see her. She's phenomenal. I stand behind her. She's my kind of woman. She's an academic woman with a kind heart, and she's smart and she knows what she's doing, and she cares about like clean water and keeping our water and sharing it in a fair manner, not having it taken over. So I think that's our goal. Water in Canada is the new oil. Water is the new oil in the future. So because we have so much of it here, we have to manage it for the world. We have to make sure it's distributed evenly and fairly and kept clean. That's a Canadian value. So, okay, gotta go. I'll see you guys soon. Probably tonight. Take care. Bye.